I'm Tylen Hall. I'm the hunter's helper. Today we have special guest Jeremy Sundgren with Sundgren Auctioneer and Realty, also my hat sponsor. Anyways, everybody always asks me how we prepare these, how we clean them, how we cook them, yada, yada, yada. So we start, Jeremy's showing you here, and Jeremy is the one that got me into morel hunting. That's why we share our morel hole secrets with each other, because we're not really worried about the other one stealing anybody's morels. But anyways, so I use salt in my water, and I can't remember if Jeremy told me that or if I read that somewhere or whether that was, but it supposedly kills the bugs, and the little black bugs that are, I guess, distinct to the morel, they're like almost like a gnat, but they're smaller. It does. The salt, if you put them in regular water, they'll be right on top of the water, just floating there, and you can skim them up and they still seem to be alive, but the salt seems to kill them. So I'm gonna wash my hands real quick so I can stir those around. And like Jeremy's doing there, those morels are so porous, you have to manhandle them and hold them underwater, and they'll just the pores on the caps will hold enough air to let it float, and your bugs will stay on them. And the reason for cutting them in half like that is you try to wash them or soak them with them whole like that, and then bugs will stay inside of them.
Yeah, bugs will actually chew a hole in the side and make a little home up inside there, and so when it's together, you can't get them out without slicing them in half. Tylen, you might talk too about how sometimes when you find these mushrooms, they're not fresh and moist out in nature. Right, they have dried a little bit. Tell them what this does from that standpoint.
And it's like we were talking, I described this on videos before. A lot of people walk over those or leave them there, so to speak, the dry morels. Like that. It's dried up, okay? But there is nothing wrong with that thing at all. I mean, when it dried up, it was fresh. It has not deteriorated, it hadn't broke down, and just put it right back in the water. And normally it's about the same amount of time I normally soak my morels for. You normally soak them for 10 minutes. You don't have to soak them for 10 minutes. I've seen people say, oh, you can't soak them any longer than 10 minutes. Well, I went off and forgot them in the sink for an hour before, and they're plenty fine. But the dehydrated ones, you just soak them with your fresh ones. It's no big deal. And they, about the same amount of time, about 10 minutes, and they're rehydrated enough to where you can't tell the difference when you're eating them, I don't think. Can you tell a big difference, Jeremy?
No, I think it brings them back to life is what it does.
Yeah. You see the hole that they'll eat in there. And when you find them and they have, looks like dried snot on it, don't worry, it's not. There's nothing wrong with it. The slugs like them, and the slugs leave snail trail, or whatever you call it. I call it snail trail. What you looking for, boss?
Well, I'm looking for tongs, and for whatever reason, I'm not seeing them. I know there's about 10 pairs of them out here, so it's just that I'm overlooking them. So let's use a fork today. Ah, there they are.
Okay, we're gonna do this like they do on TV and make it a little faster here because Tyler's got to go do real work. And I don't know if Jeremy does this, but I know it well. I know he does somewhat. When you pull the morels out, I always pull them out, rinse them off in the sink, flip the water off them as much as I can, and then I'll lay it like that to where the water can drain out, and then later on I'll flip them, or maybe knock it off a little bit and then flip it over. Just try to dry it as much as you can before you put it back into grease there, or butter, so it doesn't splash on you and burn the heck out of you. Uh-oh, we got the whole crew here now.
See, I like to cook them in butter. I think that a morel mushroom is delicious without much of anything at all. Some people deep fry them, some people put garlic on them, salt, pepper, whatever. All I do is melt butter and cook them in that, and I think they're delicious. It allows, it's a good cooking source for them, but it allows the true natural flavor to come through and shine.
Jeremy, I'm going to give you the hydrated ones now since we're not going to have the proper soak time anyways. I'm seeing next to none of those little bugs in there. Is that enough to start here? You want?
Yep. Nope.
So I got some
Well,
more here.
give me 3 or 4 more.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking for the ones that are already hydrated. Semi. There you go. There. Oh, that one's a good one. Oh. And the only reason I'm rinsing this off is to get the little bugs that I can't. I mean, the bugs are so small. In fact, you can't hardly even see them. I mean, they're there, but I mean, these this year. I don't know if it was because of that 29 degrees we had or what, but I've had next to no bugs.
Yeah,
in my
same
morels.
here. I mean, you're right. Some years you'll open up a morel mushroom and there'll be 100 bugs inside each one. And for whatever reason this year, I mean, I've seen a few snails, slugs, but no bugs.
I've had a couple roly-polies come out of the bag when I pull them out of the fridge and go to cook them. But
Yep.
Are we going to get these Sungren bags next year with morels on?
Yep. Why not?
Do like
Maybe we need to get some.
a mushroom head, like a morel head right here, with your brand right over.
I think that's a good idea. Consider it done. I always put mine in outside up. I don't think there's any rhyme or reason as to why you do that. That's just what I do. And then when I flip them, you know, that butter will cook down into those porous sides of the mushroom. And I cook these low and slow.
And so you do yours different than I do. That's so I never knew that.
I think you get less shrinkage.
Yeah, you probably do.
If you do it like this and then cook it pretty low and slow.
Yeah, see, I cook mine hot and fast, and it's probably because we're in a rush to get out of the house because it's noon and I'm eating breakfast. You know, when I send you pictures and you're like, Tyler, that's not breakfast. It's lunchtime.
Right.
And I'm like, well, it depends what time you get up.
That's right. That's right. So there you go. Beautiful. Nice picture there.
But you talking about putting the caps up? See, I'm the same way, except for I put my caps down so I get a good sear on them, just so that. But I always put them. It doesn't matter which way you put them, but always put them the same way so that you know which ones you flipped and you haven't flipped.
Yep.
Because some of them are going to probably cook different because of the sizes to them. Okay.
Exactly.
And I have screwed up and not done that before. I'll get in a hurry and just throw a whole handful in there, and the next thing you know, you have little ones that look like specks because they've shriveled up so much and they are over caramelized or burnt.
Talk about that, Tylen. I like my mushrooms to be moist and juicy, and a lot of people will get them crispy.
My wife likes hers crispy. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not a crispy mushroom
Same. My
guy.
wife likes them a little bit crispier. I love them cooked enough, but they're tender and juicy.
Yeah.
If you've never had a morel mushroom this way, without any breading,
smell 'em.
any...
I can smell them. I can smell
That's hard to
that
do.
morel smell coming out. Oh God, that smells so good.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and flip them all. So you can see what that underside looks like. And now that we flip them, boy, that butter's really gonna cook up into those pores. And then we'll flip them back again one time and it really just seeps down into them. Oh yeah. Over there a little bit. There we go. Oh yeah. Tylen, you might talk a little bit about food safety with the morels. I mean,
Yeah.
other than some bugs and a little bit of dirt, if you cook them correctly, they aren't going to hurt you, but if you don't cook them at all, bad things can happen.
It's not the mushroom itself, it's the bacterias that can be on them, and that they don't. The morel does not produce the bacteria. It's a bacteria that basically you can consider cross contamination from something else. So they say. I don't know that to be a fact, so don't quote me on that. But there was an incident here. God, what state?
Minnesota.
Minnesota. Was it
A
Minnesota?
year or two ago.
Yeah, where it actually killed some people. But the problem was that
They were chopping them raw and putting them in sushi.
putting them on a sushi roll or on sushi, one of the two, on sashimi, sushi or
On a
sushi
roll,
roll.
on a roll, I think.
But there was the supplier for those. Supposedly they were wild morels, but there was another batch or part of that batch that those people harvested, went to a place in California, and nobody reported getting ill there. But the only difference was that restaurant in California cooked theirs, where that restaurant in another state did not, and they put them on raw. And it got several people like hospitalized, bad hospitalized, and I think 2 of them died. I thought.
I think you're right.
But yeah, so anyways, and all mushrooms are that way. Even if they say that they're edible raw, I would highly suggest, unless they're, even if they're farm raised, although I do eat raw mushrooms from the store, but I probably shouldn't of any place. But
Yeah, cook these things. I mean,
yeah, it's not worth dying over.
you bet. I'm excited too. Later this fall or throughout the year, Thailand knows an enormous amount about a wide variety of mushrooms. Morels are the most popular. They're the most commonly foraged for in our area anyway. But there are an enormous amount of mushrooms that are delicious that you can find throughout the year. So I'm real excited to see some videos later in the year about winter oysters and, I don't know, pheasant backs and chicken of the woods.
The pheasant back is actually right now. You guys are out hunting morels. You can actually. I had a guy send me a picture of one the other day and asked me if it was good to eat, and I've never eaten them. The one I got for Jeremy and I last year off the property I was scouting was a giant one. It was actually bigger than what they say they get, and we were going to eat it, and I accidentally left it in the truck, and it hardened up overnight. So they say you got to get them when they're young to be edible, and they get hard. But they supposedly say they're delicious.
So I just flipped those back, and so now again, all that butter is soaking down into the pores, and so we're getting close to having these done.
What's really flavorful is the lion's mane family. That coral. What was that? It was coral. Goodness gracious, can't even think of it. The coral, and then there was the crown coral also. And it was delicious too. It's like peppery. I mean, you don't even put pepper on it. It tastes like you peppered it already. I'm trying to think what other ones are like.
Yeah, just the smell, the aroma of those right now, which you don't get to sense on video. You don't get a taste them either, I guess.
Right.
They're going to be so good.
Tyler's working on getting a smell-o-vision.
We're going to put a patent.
Jeremy, how many times have you heard somebody say, "Oh, I don't like morels because I don't like mushrooms"?
Yeah, I've never had anybody eat a morel mushroom that would actually eat one that said they didn't like it. But there are a lot of people who say or claim they don't like mushrooms. Well, this is different. I like all mushrooms, first of all, but there's just something different about these. The flavor, the texture, just...
I think it's more different than steak to pork chops even.
Yep,
I mean,
right.
And almost every mushroom seems to be that way. Most of your store-bought, the white ones, I can't even pronounce them. I always get that wrong. And then the portobellos, the baby bellas are all the same thing. But those two are similar, but it's just like a shiitake. If you guys have eaten mushrooms from the store, I'm sure you've had a shiitake. A shiitake tastes totally different than a portobello. But morels have, I don't even know how to describe it enough to Probably put
There
it
you
in
go. There's a finished product right
people's.
there. Tylen, dig in. Get you a little bit of that. Grab one. So good. I've seen people online ask about, do you eat the stems? Do you eat the pore sides? Absolutely. All of it. Because each part of the mushroom adds a little bit something different. And again, it's just so hard to describe the flavor and the hardiness of this mushroom. But I prefer to keep the stems on and eat it all together. It's just delicious that way.
Not bad for a cowboy.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you. No.
You get one of the big juicy ones. Get that one right there. That's the one you want to get. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Boy, that round one you had, it's just a firm mushroom.
Yeah.
The outside is rehydrated, but the inside, it's a firm sound gun.
Wrap it up for me real quick, T.
If you guys have any questions, or if you guys have any good Morel recipes that you would like to share with us, or tips, tricks, whatever, please drop us a line in the comment. We love to correlate. We love new things, and everybody has a different way to skin a cat. So please feel free to mention it to us. We're not going to think you know-it-alls or anything else. So, and we might be totally messing this up, you know.
That's too good to mess that up. Hey, also follow the Hunter's Helper on YouTube. Subscribe there. Be able to get a lot more content out to you that way.
Thank you, guys.